Today it's time to rehouse the Barons racers. Now the two girls, they're I think they're 4 years old. They're green phase and they've been in, a 3 high by 2 by 2 enclosure. They've cohabbed all their lives. These guys look fantastic cohab, never had any problems. Incidentally, they're about the most amazing snake you could keep. Mega inquisitive, really diurnal. Just want to come out their enclosures and run up your hand. Mine are absolutely as placid as anything. The male, he's only 2 years old and he's a brown phase. Now, I've put them together because we have some stormy early spring weather and they seem to be quite frisky. So I'm going to rehouse them because they're so good on display. They're going into this main vivarium here. I'll show you in a second. It's got issues for sure, but I think in a naturalistic planted vivarium, Barons racers, guys, and if you can afford the blue ones, I certainly can, get those as well. Highly recommended. Filming it today just by pure chance. It's Steve Irwin's birthday. Some people are really negative about that guy, but I believe he was just superbly passionate about reptiles and getting other people to love them and not hate them. If you ever get to go to Australia Zoo, it is the most immaculate, beautiful zoo you will ever see. Highly recommend that as well. Flip you around, tell you what I'm going to do. So this enclosure is 5 foot wide, 2 foot deep and 4 foot high. Perfect if you want a really good display for Barons racers, but they don't need that amount of room. They're long snakes, but they're pretty thin, semi-arboreal snakes because they will do just fine, even in a long vivarium. But what have we got here? This is just right, isn't it? They're going to love this. They've got lighting plus bright room lighting, more than enough for the plants to grow. We've got a ceramic heater there. We've got a lower wattage ceramic heater down there. We've got 2 areas of plants, quite a bit of bioactive, plenty of things to climb around on, and lots of nooks and crannies to get behind. The only problem with this enclosure, really, and there's something else, guys. They love a shelf. They like to just drape over and constantly watch what's going on. Adding any kind of shelving to your enclosure, massive, even for relatively ground-living snakes, it just increases the surfaced area, the floor space, no end. And especially if you use a shelf up really high, so it's quite dark and tight, snakes really like that. Just make sure you get your hand in there to clean it out should you need to. So it's all pretty nice. The only trouble with this enclosure is it's really old and the top's warping down a little bit here. And it means because I've got a strip here that I can never clean the lime scale from the overspray on because the handles are too chunky for the glass to swap sides. But I can't get the glass out anymore because this enclosure is now very old, and soon the whole reptile room will see changes. So one thing we've changed just lately is my brumation racks and my racks that I breed my small king snakes in. They're here now in the reptile room. So we used to have a big Vietnamese Blue Beauty enclosure here. The Barons racers were here, 5 foot on top with a Coyote super dwarf reticulated python growing on. That's all going to be changed around. It's sharpened up the vivarium. It's given me more space for the really small colubrids growing on, like the grey banded king snakes. These are 2.5 foot by 2 foot enclosures. So all changes in here, but I'll show you that as time goes on. But for sure, big new enclosures are what I want to go with. Less animals, but bigger enclosures, display enclosures. I think that's what I want to head towards for sure. We're going to get them in there and watch them explore, and hopefully it'll be the first year that I produce Barons racers for other people to enjoy. So these two I brought as sex females, as hatchlings. Look at them. Pretty sure they are. I've probed them as females as well, but I can tell you now, they're clamping their cloacas together. One of them's very frisky, but it could just be because it's a frisky female. These snakes are some of the most beautiful, and it's just their inquisitive nature, guys. These are a proper display snake that you will love. You will love to see every time you go into your reptile room. I prefer the green to the brown. I guess for the rarity value, most of us would prefer the blue to the green. Look at this. So we've got one freshly shed this morning. Look at that. And one about to shed today. Have a look at this video as well. Another video on how to keep them. Look at them. Just enjoy. Look at them. They're just superb. Now they are rear fang venomous. I can't speak for the people. All of mine are the most docile, placid snakes you will ever see. I absolutely adore these. If there's one species of snake, I would recommend BARONS racers. Absolutely. Let's get them in. These snakes love to explore. Funnily though, they're exploring me rather than their new house. Go on. Go and slough. If you can get live plants to grow in your enclosure, even just potos, devil's ivy, do it. Adds a whole new dimension really. Having, just like in an aquarium, living plants rule over plastic plants and contribute a lot to bioactivity as well. Beautiful. We're going to have two nice fresh ones by the end of the day, I think. If not tomorrow. This girl would have sloughed out. She's absolutely ready to. We'll see how frisky they become. Let's find a male. Look at them. I've had these since hatchlings. They've had multiple places to chill out, rest, hide. I can tell you now, they are always, these girls, always together. And it's way beyond, oh well, because it's the optimum place to hang out. It's way beyond that. There's so much choice. Always together, never fight over food. Just like if you go wild herping, you'll find multiple animals of the same species under the same refugia, and you'll find multiple species together when there's plenty of choice and option. There's more interactivity going on between reptiles than I think us snake keepers really credit them for. There, chilling out there. Here's the much younger, he's half their age, just old enough to breed. I think he's only about 2 years old, so yeah, I think he is. He's been showing a lot of interest, but we'll see. Longer nose, bit more longer nose on the males. He's the brown phase. Some people really love the brown ones. I'm colourblind, and whether that's because, I don't know, but greens and really, I love blue. Most of my tarantulas are blue. But the green to me is nicer on the eye than the poor old poo brown one just here. I hope you can't hear me. Look at him. Again, great animals. Let's get him in there. Oh, so true to form, the girls are all over this enclosure. They are so inquisitive. Somewhere new, they're going to spend most of the day checking out every single nook and cranny. Let's get this little fellow in there to join them. By the way, this species have a huge ability to eat food. These guys, the females, you saw how small their heads were. They swallow whole day old cockerels, no issues. The male, he's on quite small food. He's quite picky actually. Smaller, much smaller mice, not even adult mice. He's much, much shyer than those girls. Oh, there goes a nice. The sound of a false water cobra doing a poo in the background. What a bit of ambience. Wow. You can see there's some leaf litter in here. Spring's here, it's mid-February. I really do need to go out and get some more before it's all disappeared, but oak and beech leaves I tend to use just from the woodland. I love a thick layer of leaf litter in my semi-natural enclosures. It looks great, it helps bioactivity, and it's still a substrate that soaks up waste. So the only thing to add, other than the snakes, is some fresh leaf litter on the woodland floor. They're really frisky, they're really checking everything out. Much more space.